All right, guys, welcome back to No Filter MMA. This is your boy BJ back, and I'm bringing you guys something huge today. First of all, of course, I'm joined by my boy Ant from Bloody Canvas MMA. And as you guys can see, I am joined by the one and only Mr. Dean Thomas. Welcome to No Filter MMA, Dean.
I give myself a round of applause. What's up, man? What's happening?
Man, we're just excited, man. We're excited to have you here, man. So tell us, man, this is a big week. This is a huge week. You got a huge couple of weeks coming up. You know what I'm saying? How has, with all of this that's went on with the COVID and the quarantine and all of this, and now that you're at this spot, tell us what's your thought process now that you're actually here after all that we've been through the last couple of months?
Well, it's been a wild couple months, man. Especially for me because I left the team that I, pretty much came up with. So it's nerve-wracking actually because this is my first big fight. This is my first fight since I left the team. So I feel like I'm putting a little bit of pressure on myself, even though I know that it doesn't matter. But I'm putting a little bit of pressure on myself because this is my first fight since I left, and I'm doing my own thing. So I got nobody else to blame, and that's how I wanted it. So the whole Corona thing didn't really affect me all that much because I was, I'm low key anyway. And like I said, I quit my job, so I didn't have to go to the gym and work with people. I brought the people to me, the ones that I was still working with, and we still got it in. Jillian Robertson, she's been on my side for months now, like training every day. We was with Tyron, just traveling and just getting it in, man. And I'm enjoying life now because of it. So I'm kind of hoping it stays like this, actually.
It's definitely a different kind of environment, man. I gotta ask you though, have you noticed any significant differences with Tyron leading up to this fight compared to 235? I mean, there was a lot going on, it seemed like, and now it just seemed like he's razor sharp. He's ready to go in there and get back, start kicking some asses, as you said.
Yeah, I don't really follow what goes on, so I don't know what type of image he's putting out right now. But I can tell you right now, man, he's serious. And I haven't seen it. There's only 2 times where I saw him really serious. That was against Robbie Lawler and Darren Till. And you saw what happened in those fights.
Yeah.
He's serious in this. And I mean, so when he fought Usman, it was no secret that basically he was doing a lot of things, and he always does a lot of things. But I think it just caught up to him. He's getting older. It just caught up. Now he put the priority back into fighting, and he's been in camp. He started his camp in Thailand in November. So he's been training hard since November. So I mean, he's really sharp right now. He's in the best shape I've ever seen him. He can just go and go and go and go and go. So I think you're going to see a different guy out there Saturday.
Man, that's exciting to hear. Now, BJ, you good, man. I'm just getting excited over here. That's Tyron.
Dude, I'm excited to see how this fight is going to go, man. But, his opponent is a very aggressive guy on the feet, but so is Tyron Woodley. You know what I'm saying? Both these guys have we've seen how he put down Damian Maia. You know what I'm saying? How is Tyron prepared for somebody who, in a lot of ways, presents a lot of the same tools and dangers that he presents himself, especially the one-punch knockout and stuff like that. How was Tyron prepared for that?
Well, we know what Gilbert's capable of. I mean, I've been around the game, been around the block long enough to know what he's capable of. I know where he comes from. I know his camp. We respect his ability. That's the one thing that we always. When I study opponents, I'm not the type that goes, this guy sucks. If they suck, I'll say they suck. But when they're good, I know what they're. We need to identify what they're good at. So we respect his power. We respect his ground game. But I think Tyron does better against guys who come at him aggressively. When you look at his record, when guys come at him, they leave openings for him, and he's so fast. And so I hope Gilbert comes at it, but who knows? Maybe he won't. But I just know that Tyron is really prepared right now. He's never looked sharper, and I expect to see him get his hand raised early in the night. I might have a date or something. I need to get out. You know what I'm saying? We don't get paid by the hour. We don't get paid by the hour. So
right. So Dean, I got a question, man. Like, one of the most epic moments involving yourself and Tyron Woodley, I think Ant mentioned the Darren Till fight earlier, was when you wrapped that black belt around his neck, man. That was one of the craziest moments. Like, that was a crazy emotional moment. Just to see Tyron, like, whoa, like, obviously you were planning to do that, but when you saw him submit Darren Till, did you think that was how it was going to go? Was that the game plan for that fight?
I did. I didn't think he would knock him down with a punch, though. You know, Darren Till's, I thought he'd be, because he's a bigger guy, I thought he'd be able to absorb the punches a little better. But he got knocked down with a punch. I thought Tyron would take him down, pass his guard, and submit him. And I just knew that. You know, that's why I put so much into giving him his black belt. Like, that wasn't just like something I just thought of that day. Like, it was a process. I had to go through a process to make that happen. And I did, because I believed in my head that was going to happen. I manifested that into the universe somehow. And it came out and it worked. But when I gave it to him, I'm being honest with you, I was, in my own head, I'm thinking, he's not going to want it from me. You know, I'm thinking he probably wants it from Laborio or one of these other, one of these Brazilian guys. But for him to be excited about getting it from me meant a lot to me. Because, like I said, I didn't think he'd even want it from me. And I was like, I just took it upon myself to be like, man, we've been doing this too long. I've been working with you for too long. You've been a brown belt for too long. You've earned this. And I was just like, thank God he accepted it. Because he could have easily been like, nah, man, I want it from Laborio. And I'd have been like, hey.
That would have been crazy to see, man. But I got to ask you, Dean, going into this weekend, considering, there's no audience or anything, is there any kind of concern with maybe Gilbert's corner, eavesdropping and, just anything like that? Because that's been something that's been coming up, over the past few events, corners hearing each other. Any kind of concerns there?
No, man. To me, it's like a gym fight. That's the way I see it. It's like a gym scrap. These guys, there ain't no secrets in the game. They study, man. We've faced his squad before, they just, Usman's from his squad, so they know what Tyron does. They're not like, there's nothing I'm going to say that's going to be like, oh no. Yeah. So they know what he does. And I know what Gilbert does. These guys are going to throw punches and kicks and try to choke each other out. And that's the end. It's a matter of who's going to get off first, really. I'm not concerned with anything. In fact, I need to make sure that I'm extremely quiet on the side, just because I'm going to be listening to them, seeing what they talking about. Yeah. But to be honest with you, you can hear it oftentimes anyway. You can kind of hear the other corners anyway, even without the crowd. So it's nothing for me.
So how do you, like I said before we started recording this, when I've heard Jillian speak about you, she speaks about you, and Tyron speaks the same way about you. They have such a level of respect for you and such a level of loyalty, you know what I'm saying? And they praise you for being, they give just about all of their success, they give you credit for, you know what I'm saying? So what is it that you do differently that maybe some of these, how are you connecting with Jillian and Tyron in ways that other coaches just aren't connecting with their fighters? Well, you see people leaving gyms, you see people leaving coaches,
and that happens. But that's my thing too. Like, I'm not bound to any fighter, and no fighter is bound to me. If a fighter wants to leave, you're free to go, and I feel the same. Like, if I want to leave, I should be free to go, and no beef. It's just life happens. You know what I'm saying? People get divorced. That's life. It happens. But I think they appreciate that freedom that I give them. So, because it's a mutual thing. We wake up in the morning and we go, all right, we're going to work today. If they woke up one morning and said, hey, man, listen, I'm going to work with somebody else, I'd be like, you need me to drive you. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm okay with that. Whatever makes you better. And I think I can't speak for other coaches out there. I can only speak for why I'm doing this, and that is the process. I absolutely love the process. I'm not doing this for money. I'm not doing this for fame. I love the process. And that was how it was when I fought, because we didn't make money. So it was about the process. It was about training and winning fights. And now I don't compete no more. And I have athletes that can do it. So, and I try not to live vicariously through them, but this is sort of an extension of my career. This is still me solving these puzzles of beating people up. And I have an opportunity to do it with some just fantastic people, Tyron, Jillian, some others that we can discuss later. But I have some people that are, to listen to me, and we have good chemistry, and it works. And I've just, like I said, I don't do this for money. I do this for the love of the game. The money comes just because I do it for the love of the game. And I don't know if other coaches are in that position to do it because they have to do it for money. So they, they show up, clock in. But for me, I don't clock in. I live it.
I mean, we can definitely tell you live it, man. While you were at ATT, you were clearly a standout. And obviously you're starting, a new chapter in your career and branching out and wanting to do your own thing. And one of my questions for you is, man, what has it been like to work with Greg Hardy, see him improve over time from when we seen him, on Dana White's Contender Series to where he is now? Like, he's just evolved so much. What has that been like for you to just see that in the flesh?
Well, and I tell this story all the time. When Greg first joined the team, his management brought him to me and said, hey, we're going to work with this guy. I was like, all right, cool. So I sat him in my office and I said, listen, man, if this is just like some gimmick, some fad that you want to just say that you fought in MMA, we don't really need to train. We can just, you can just run, hit the bag, and then go out and fight. I'll support that. I will. I'll support whatever you want. Whatever your goals are, I'll support your goals. He said, nah, man, I want to be champion. I want to get good at it. I said, well, then we need to learn, and we need to start from the bottom. And he said, whatever you ask me to do, I'm going to do. And he's done that. Greg's the type of guy, because he's so used to being coached at every level since he was 5 years old, that he listens to his coaches. So when I ask him to do something, he may have a question about it, which I don't mind, because he's very analytical. For a big man, for a heavyweight, he's very analytical because he's used to X's and O's from football. So he likes to learn that way. So I try to teach him that way. I try to give him the breakdowns as if like he's learning a new football play. But so it's very easy for me to train him that way. So I just try to work with guys the way it's easier for them to work. Again, it's not about me. To me, it's about the process and watching them win. And when they win, then I'm like, all right, we solved the puzzle. Next.
It's crazy, man. That's just great to hear that kind of mindset, man. It's amazing, to be honest with you.
Well, I appreciate that.
Yeah.
Man, guys, once again, this is the Dean Thomas.
Yeah,
This is the Dean Thomas, guys. Once again, man, we are very happy to have you here. So, like I mentioned to you, I'm Team Robertson all day. You can go look through, you can check my receipts, you can go look through the history of my channel, and you can scroll. I've interviewed Jillian 3, maybe 4 times already. You know what I'm saying? And dude, I just when I see, there's a lot of fans out here, and there's a lot of, people who criticize the sport, criticize fighters and somewhat, and they don't see potential in a lot of fighters. You know what I'm saying? And Jillian suffers from that, and I believe she suffers from that from being coming from the Ultimate Fighter. I feel like she suffers all of those girls from the Ultimate Fighter already had that bad rap coming into them, especially when you see former bantamweights, former strawweights coming into 125. They just kind of ride off the tough girls. And I just kind of want to talk to you and I want to ask you what, from a coach's perspective, what type of fighter and what is it like to train somebody like Jillian Robinson?
She's absolutely one of my favorite people to train because she works so hard. And I have to try not to work her. I have to try to pull her back because it's like, I'm like, don't train tomorrow because I need you to do this on Monday, and she'll train anyway. She just loves what she's doing. So we have that same love for the process, which is why we get along so well. And the funny thing about our relationship is I've known her for almost 10 years. I've been training her for the better part of that 10 years. But we really don't have much of a relationship outside of what we do. Yeah, it's the weirdest thing. We drove to St. Louis a few weeks ago, and the conversation in the car was pretty much non-existent. It was like very, very, very awkward. If you ever saw us together, you would think we didn't even know each other. But
right
at the end of the day, we have this mutual respect and just feeling towards you. I mean, and I know it, I care about her and I love her to death because of, who she's a great person and
right.
She's got a bright future. So I love working with her. She's one of the hardest workers I've ever worked with. And she's just willing to do anything. She's very honest about her skill set. And she's willing to do anything to get better. So I'm going to continue to work with her until she decides to quit.
BJ, man, I got to write off that question, bro. I have to, man. Dean, is there anybody, that you favorite, that you don't work with? Is anyone, like, when they're fighting, you're like, man, I got to tune in and see what's going on, whether, it's a no name or a huge name like Justin Gaethje or somebody?
No, you know who I really like? And I like this kid. I saw him warming up one day at a UFC. He wasn't even fighting. He was just training with his guy. And I said, man, this kid is good. And that's Sean O'Malley. I just watched him work out, and he was solid everywhere. Like, he was on his feet, switching stances. Technique was good. Mechanics were good. Then he was on the ground, looked sharp on the ground. So this kid's going to be good. So I like him. And before it's all said and done, I'm going to work with him. I will work with him before it's all said and done.
You hear that? You hear that, Sean? Dean Thomas is calling for you, boy.
Yeah.
So, all right. So let me ask you, man. Okay, so you've been with your fighters through wins. You've been with your fighters through losses. You know what I'm saying? And Jillian lost her last fight with Macy Barber. Let me ask you this question. Going into that Macy Barber fight, you know what I'm saying? I know Jillian did well in that fight. I mean, if you look at the fight, she did well in that fight. We saw improvements in the striking. Her pressure, like, she has some of the heaviest pressure, in that division. She's gonna stalk you down. She's gonna get you down. You know what I'm saying? But Macy Barber being that bigger fighter, and which Jillian is going into another fight where a girl is probably gonna be bigger than she is. You know what I'm saying? And Jillian always says technique beats strength any day. So tell me, preparing for another big fighter like this, how have you gotten Jillian ready for that?
Well, Jillian trains, like I said, now Jillian trains with my fat ass every day, twice a day. So it doesn't matter how big the girl is, they're not gonna be as big as me. Well, Macy might have been. Macy was a big girl that day.
She was big that day.
I said, holy shit. But that wasn't really the issue with Jillian in that fight, the size. It was, she had some injuries going in that we sacrificed some workouts, and she, the training wasn't really all as great as it should have been. But Jillian is such a warrior that she would not pull out. She's always going to take a fight. So she's like, I'm wanting to take the fight. And then when Macy came out fighting orthodox, I think that may have messed her up a little bit. So she could make the adjustment right away because we expected her to be southpaw. And when she came out orthodox, I was like, dang, God damn it, Duke. That damn Duke Rufus. Yeah. He's so smart because Duke knows, that I study people. So I'm sure he did that on purpose. And Duke's right across the hall right now. So, but I was like, God damn it, he outsmarted me. But again, like, I don't think that would have changed the fact. Macy was just a better fighter that night, and she would have beat. Everybody was like, they stopped it a little early, but I think she would have ended up beating Jillian regardless. That night, she was just better. I don't think she's a better fighter. I think Jillian will come back from that and show the world what's up. So, and I'm not really concerned with Courtney Casey's size. That's not my concern. Floyd Mayweather said it. He said, size don't win fights, fighting wins fights. And I wholeheartedly believe that fighting wins fights. So Jillian's going to do her thing.
how far do you, I mean, I think when you move to the top of that division and you look at the top of that division, you know what I'm saying? There's a lot of winnable fights for Jillian Robinson in that division. Like I see Jillian Robertson beating Roxanne Modafferi. I see Jillian Robertson beating Caitlin Chukagian. I see Jillian Robertson beating a lot of those girls. And last time I talked to Jillian, you know what I'm saying? Jillian's like really the only person that, you know, gives her any intimidation at all or would be any type of a that she sees as a hard fight is Valentina Shevchenko. You know what I'm saying? And but let me ask you this though: how do you feel about how hard Jillian has worked so far in the UFC, and how hard it's been for her to get into those and get into the rankings and to get into that conversation? Because if you look at other girls in that division who haven't put in the work that Jillian Robinson, in her UFC career, she's put in some work, and
Yeah.
it's like it's so hard for her to get into those rankings. It's like they're trying to establish Jillian as like a gatekeeper, and she's far from a gatekeeper. You know what I'm saying? Like they're throwing her to Courtney Casey, and everyone's like, okay, Courtney Casey's probably going to beat Jillian Robinson, but people don't know Jillian Robinson. Like, how do you feel about her position so far in this division when she's one of the first in the division?
I think, and that's a good question, and I want to make sure I get this right without sounding bad here. I think here's the thing, man. Is it Jillian's a young fighter, and she's got a lot of work to do, and we're constantly working, and I don't want to rush her. And looking back, the Macy Barber fight was probably a little too close to being rushed. Because, you know, I thought the winner of that fight was going to emerge into the rankings and then start, you know, pushing for a title. If Macy, and that's what was going to happen with Macy. You know, they put her against Roxanne, and had she not torn her knee, she was kind of getting beat up anyway. But, you know, I think they expected her. Yeah, I think they expected her to win that fight and then just then push for a title run. That could have been Jillian. And I don't think Jillian was ready at the time. You know, I think there was a lot of things that she needed to work on, and some maturity that she's getting now. And I don't want to rush her. So I want her to take her time. I don't have what I want her to have is a good career. That's what I want. Whether she wins a title or not, I want her to have a good career. When you look at, you know, fighters, you know, from my generation, like Jim Miller, Joe Lauzon, like those are the fighters that I can appreciate because they had a long-lasting career. And that's what I want for her. Whether she wins a title or not, like I want her to win a title, but it's more important that she's fighting for as long as she wants to. And that's if she can hang out in the UFC for 10 years and make a good chunk of change, that's better for me.
Go ahead, Ant.
Man, I gotta ask you, I can only imagine, you know, as a coach at ATT, there was a lot going on. There's plenty of names over there, and there's just plenty of fighters. I knew it could have been overwhelming for you, you know, taking on that many people. So where you're branching out now, do you have like an ideal set of numbers you'd like to work with? Like, do you intend on continuing to grow the team, whatever the name might be? If you want to break that name here, you know, we'll gladly take that.
I mean, absolutely.
No, I'm not. I don't plan on starting a team. I want to be more like Freddie Roach. You know, I want to be for hire. So I don't want to have a team or be responsible for that. For me, I want to be able to take guys and go, all right, let's put in this work, me and you, or, you know, I'm not opposed to working with a fighter and their coach. You know, bring your coach in, and we all work together to make you a better fighter. And you know, if I have some people that are dedicated to me and want to have a career with me and do it that way, I don't have a problem with that. But I'm not going to sacrifice members of my team to make other members of my team better. And that was what I think was happening to some of my fighters at Top Team. Was that, you know, at times they would be sacrificed for the champions to be sparring partners, and I'm like, they're not ready for that yet, but they were the bodies there. So
yeah,
I didn't want that. You know, I don't want that. I believe everybody deserves a chance to be great.
Yeah,
that's true, man.
That's
true. Great word spoken by a great man by the name of Dean Thomas. I just want to remind y'all that we got Dean Thomas on the podcast today.
Dean Thomas, people. Dean Thomas.
Dean Thomas. Hey, Dean, I just want to let you know, man, when I hit Ann up and was like, hey, man, do you want to interview Dean Thomas with me? He sent me a long text that said, the Dean Thomas? Yeah. I was like, the Dean Thomas. We fanboys. We fanboy for a minute, man. I ain't gonna lie to you. We fanboy.
But listen, I appreciate that too, man, because without you guys, and people always ask me, oh, man, you do podcasts? I'm like, man, I'll do whoever, because, you know, everybody needs a hand, and everybody needs a hand. And if this can help you to get some other dudes put on, and then if this helps you to get a spot on ESPN, then that's what it is. You know, like, I'm down to help the cause. Everybody needs a hand.
Right. Well, we appreciate that, man. Thank you. Thank you so much. Definitely appreciate that. So, Dean, before we wrap this up, man, I just want to ask, it's fight week. It's fucking fight week. So
don't remind me.
What does Dean Thomas do with Tyron Woodley in fight week? Like, he's probably, you know, going through those fight week jitters, you know what I'm saying? How is Tyron Woodley on fight week, and what do you have to do on fight week?
You know, he's different depending on his weight and how camp was, but I think this has been one of the better ones because he's been training so long, and because I've been with him for so long. You know, I first went out to St. Louis, or was it Atlanta? First I went to, I think it was Atlanta. I went and we trained in Atlanta for a few weeks, and then it was St. Louis, then back in Atlanta. So I have been with him for quite some time. And it's just been us. And with, like I said, the whole quarantine, it eliminated a lot of distractions because we couldn't go nowhere anyway. So we would just go to the gym, then back home and hang out. To the gym, back home and hang out. And it's like that now. So it's like we're in this hotel by ourselves. Like the UFC rented out the hotel and just only has fighters in here. So it's like we're just in here and it's just like home. Just go to our room, we go train, and it's right back to our rooms. So I think he's in a better place mentally than he's ever been before. He's not, because he's easily influenced by like little things, like fans coming up to him when he's cutting weight, and he don't have to worry about that now. So today we went running today, and it was great, you know. So it was, you know, it's been a good time. I'm always going to talk about the process. The process has been great. I'm totally enjoying it, and I just love where I'm at right now in life and with him in this camp. So, you know, it's just, we just laying low, gonna make weight for tomorrow, and get ready to do battle on Saturday.
Hell yeah, man. I gotta ask you, dude, what's it like dealing with that Rona test, man? It seems like you guys have to get that damn thing every day, man.
No. They gave us the test the first day. Like the first thing they did when we got here was they gave us the test. So like they didn't even let us back. They was like, take this test, and they were like, and with this one they put down your throat.
Oh man!
I'm like, and then then they check your temperature. So you know we got to get temperature checks every day, and I mean they're taking all the necessary precautions. Like we can't walk around without face masks, and you know everybody's got their own separate workout room, and everything they could do in order to keep us safe they've done.
Right. Awesome. Right. Yeah. Man, that's fucking awesome, man. Well, hey man, we ain't gonna keep you all night, Dean. I know it's a busy, crazy week, man. It's just I'm glad I was able to get you before this fight and before Jillian's fight. You got a busy couple of weeks coming up, man. So, and one thing I want to point out before I go to, man, is I think it's really fucking cool how when Jillian fights, you're the only person in her corner, dude. I think that is just like that lets you know, like, because I mean, I think one fight when she fought, I think it was Veronica Macedo, you weren't there, and she had people in her corner, and you could just kind of, even though that was one of the best performances I think from Jillian, but there was people all in her corner, and she was kind of like, you know, like something about her face. You look at her between rounds, she just wasn't feeling it. You know what I'm saying? And when it's her, and then behind that cage is you, it's like let's
different
fucking
monster.
roll. Let's fucking roll. Yeah, let's go. Like
Well,
that just to me, man. Go ahead.
So, if you've been impressed by her performances before, that was us. I've got a long history with her, but that was us working for like 2 weeks together. So her performance against Veronica Macedo, she did so well in that fight because she actually flew out to Milwaukee when I was training Tyron. She flew out to Milwaukee with Shorty Torres and stayed in the Airbnb on their own and trained with me when they could, when I wasn't busy with Tyron. So then she had a solid performance in that fight. Her next fight, you're going to see what her hanging out with me every day for 2 months does.
Fuck yeah. Well, hey man, I can tell you right now, I'm ready. I'm ready, man. I'm a huge Jillian Robinson fan, dude. I just love everything about Jillian Robinson. I love her style, I love her attitude, everything about her. She's just, to me, she's a future champion. And Tyron Woodley, and again, and new, I see it happening, man.
Yeah.
For sure. Well, Dean, man, I just want to let you go ahead, man.
I appreciate you guys, man. And like I said, I don't do this for fame, but I do this for love, and I do this to inspire. So if this inspires you guys to do better and to do good, then I've accomplished my goal for the day.
Hey, man, you did that already. As soon as we started talking to you, man, you could feel that energy.
Absolutely, man. Hey, I've had fun tonight, Dean. I appreciate it. Hope to get you back on in the near future, man. Hey, wrap it up, talk shit again, and the floor is yours. Give a shout out to whoever you want to give a shout out to, man, and we'll get out of here.
Well, I just want to let everybody know to follow me on social media. Follow some of my antics and some of the dumb stuff that I do in order to keep people entertained. So if I'm not educating, I'm entertaining. And that's at Dean Thomas. Everything's at Dean Thomas, DIN Thomas. Follow me. And then you guys were great, man. I'm going to catch up with y'all.
Thanks,
absolutely, man. This is your boy BJ back from No Filter MMA. Drop those comments in the comment section. Hit that like button. Follow Dean Thomas on all social media platforms at Dean Thomas, and also follow my boy Ant and John over at Bloody Canvas MMA. And we are out.